Good morning everyone. Good morning students. So we are back with the biology class of PUC first year with the topic cell cycle and cell division. So the previous class we have studied the cell, the unit of life. So where we have studied the cell theory, the organelles that are present in the cell, their structures and their functions. This chapter is correlated with the previous chapter, the cell, the unit of life. Now you have a brief idea that what are the components of the cell and all. So the next part of the cell, the unit of life, is the cell cycle and cell division. So let us recollect some of the concept of the cell. What is the concept of the cell theory? So that is related to this topic, that is cell cycle and cell division. So we have learned the cell theory. Cell theory, there are two main statements in the cell theory, that is all living organisms are made up of cells and its products. So already all the living organisms except the viruses don't have the cell components, but almost all the living organisms, whether unicellular or multicellular, they have their own components or they are made up of cells and its products. While the second theory is new cells arrive from or form from pre-existing cells. So as the statement given by Rudolf Virchow, who says that omnis cellula e cellula, that is there is a pre-existing cell which undergo changes and form the new daughter cells. So Rudolf Virchow stated the statement that new cells are developed from the pre-existing cells. So this concept in the cell cycle, we can go with the definition of cell division. What is cell division or cell reproduction? So what is cell division or cell reproduction? The property of a living cell is totipotency. That is, totipotency means all the living cells have this property to divide or multiply. Take simple example of curdling of milk. A small teaspoon of a curd added to the milk where the bacteria multiply and produces or converts the lactose sugar into the lactic acid with the help of lactobacillus bacteria. They go on multiplying with that. Yes. So in this process, so it is a process. All the living organisms, let it be unicellular or multicellular, have that property to continue their generation. They have the property of dividing. They continue the generation. Till now also we can see there is continuation of the life. So here this property, that property that makes the existence of the life is the cell division. So definition, or we can define the cell division as the process of formation of new cells from pre-existing cells. What is cell division or cell reproduction? That is, it is a process of formation of new cells from the pre-existing cells. Or while explaining in prokaryotes, I had already said that bacteria undergo binary fission. There is a mother cell. This mother cell, it undergo changes and form the daughter cells. So the presence of a mother cell is there is already a cell present. So that is the pre-existing cells. The pre-existing cells undergo the process and form new daughter cells. So what is the definition of cell reproduction? It is the process of formation of new cells from the pre-existing cells. So here if you take this process. For example, in plants, a small seed, already you have learnt in the morphology part that there is a radicle and there is a plumule. The radicle will develop to form the root system, while the plumule will form the shoot system, producing the leaves, the branches and the flowers. So this all overall development or the division of the cell is nothing but the cell division or cell reproduction. All living organisms, yes, all the living organisms have this property to divide. So that property itself we call it as cell division, or in simple way we can define as the process of formation of new cells from pre-existing cells. So in this there are three types of cell divisions. So what are the types? There are three types of cell divisions. One is mitosis, which is also known as direct division. Next is mitosis, known as equational division, and meiosis, known as reductional division. So there are three types of cell divisions. One is mitosis, and meiosis. So one by one we will go with these types of cell division. First with mitosis, where A is no or absence. A means no or absence, while mito implies the thread. Mito implies the thread. So A means or implies no, absence. So in simple we can say is absence of or no thread formation. No thread formation. No thread formation according to the Greek letter or Greek word mitosis. Direct division, or in simple terms we can say that mitosis is a direct division. In this, so with the diagram, let us try to know that how this direct division or mitosis occurs. So for this, there is already a mother cell. There is a mother cell with the components in it. It has its own component. With this simple diagram, you will clearly understand the concept of mitosis. Mitosis. In the reference books, you can find this diagram. Where the process is said to be as direct cell division. There is a slowly, this is the pre-existing cell or a mother cell, by producing the grooves, by producing the cleavage furrow. This construction we call it as cleavage furrow. This cleavage furrow deepens and deepens, dividing the cells and divides the cells to form two daughter cells. It is a direct process of cell division. There is a pre-existing cells where the content that are present in the cell are just equally distributed with the formation of the groups, or there is a cleavage furrow. This cleavage furrow thickens or deepens, dividing the components equally to the processes. So all the components are equally distributed or equally divided among during the process. And lastly, two daughter cells. Daughter cells are being formed with the components similar to that of the parent cells. So it is a form of a simple division of the components present in the pre-existing cells that are equally distributed to the daughter cells. So we call this division also as direct division or direct cell division. While in the second one it is mitosis. The second is mitosis, which is also referred as equational division. Why it is called as equational division? All the steps and whatever changes that occurs in the cell will be dealt in the coming classes, but just to give an idea of what is mitosis with the simple features. So here mitosis is known as equational division. Now for example, if you take the human cell itself, we have totally 23 pairs of chromosomes, that is 46 number of chromosomes. So a mother cell, usually this type of cell division, mitosis, occurs in the somatic cells, or we can say as body cells. When you get a cut or your skin is being injured or it is being burnt, you can see there is recovery of that portion, of that part of the skin. So especially you are common with burning and cuttings. So when you get that, you will find that a new skin or a new layer of the skin is being developed. So that process where there is healing of the wound, where the wound is being healed, that healing of the wound is because of the mitosis, where it is, and those that occurs in those cells, that process which occurs in those cells are called as somatic cells or commonly the body cells. So here the mother cell is having 46 number of chromosomes. There are various steps that we will be dealing in the class. In this, the 46, the mother cell, which is having 46 number of chromosomes, undergo the process of division to form two daughter cells. Two daughter cells, where each of the daughter cells also have same 46 number of chromosomes. That is, the genetical makeup or the number of chromosomes is similar of the parent cell. There is equal distribution of the chromosomes from a mother cell to the daughter cells. So this division is called as equational division. So there is a mother cell with complete set of chromosomes undergo the process of cell division to form two daughter cells, and each of the daughter cells receive the same number of chromosomes as that of the mother cells. So this division we call it as equational division. Why? In the third type, that is meiosis. Third type, meiosis, it is known as reductional division, and this process occurs in the germ cells, or we call it as reproductive cells. It occurs in the germ cells or reproductive cells. For example, take the example of human beings only. There are 46 number of chromosomes and there are two steps in this. So in the first step, two daughter cells are formed. Later on, again two daughter cells are formed. Totally 4 daughter cells are formed, but these daughter cells have half the number of chromosomes. Half the number of chromosomes, and we represent this as haploid condition or young condition. Haploid condition. So the mother cell divides to form 4 daughter cells, but the daughter cells do not have the same number of chromosomes as that of the parent cell, which receives only half the number of chromosomes. So here the number of chromosomes is reduced and distributed to the daughter cells. So this process is called as reductional division, as the number of chromosomes are being reduced in the daughter cells. Then cell division is clear. What is cell division? That is, it is a process of formation of new cells from the pre-existing cells, where there are 3 types: amitosis, mitosis and meiosis. Already I said it is amitosis. It is a direct form of cell division. Then what is cell cycle? What is the cell cycle? Before that, we will go with this term, that is generation time. One of the definition, that is generation time. Usually there is specific period of time where the cell divides. So where it is undergoing the process of cell division. The duration of the cell division, it varies from one organism to another organisms. For example, the bacteria have a very short duration of division, where mother cell within a period of 20 to 30 minutes forms the new daughter cells. While if you take the plants, the seeds, it may take more months to develop the radicle and the cribule. But all the organisms have their own specific time, so that they can reproduce or they can divide. So that period of time taken by the cells to form a cell new cells, or in one cell cycle, is known as generation time. The time taken by, or the period of time taken by a cell in an cell cycle is known as generation time. As I said, the duration differ from one organism to another organisms. So that period of time taken by the cell to in a cell cycle to complete the process is known as generation time. Example, if you take human cell, the duration or the generation time is 24 hours. It is 24 hours. Why? The bacteria generation time is around 20 to 30 minutes. While the yeast cells take 90 minutes to divide. So the generation time of a human cell is around 24 hours. Bacteria is 20 to 30 minutes. While in the yeast cells it is around 90 minutes. So they have their specific time or time period. So that period of time taken by a cell in a cell cycle is known as generation time. Then what do you mean by cell cycle? You are coming across a new word called as cell cycle. So what is the cell cycle? We'll go with the definition of cell cycle. There it is of the topic cell cycle and cell division. Here the cell has to divide. It just follows some sequences or certain events occur within the cell so that it is dividing. That is, the pre-existing cell or the mother cell divides to form the daughter cells. So what is this process of cell cycle? We can give many definitions to it. So in that, the one definition is, that is sequence of events that occur in a cell with division to form daughter cells. One simple definition is of the cell cycle is there is sequence of events that occur in a cell with division to form the daughter cells, or sequence of changes that occur with duplication of genome, synthesis of constituents, growth and form, daughter cell. Another definition, in various ways it can be defined. Here the second is the sequence of changes that occur in duplication of genome. Main is the life is continuing, because of the genetic information that are present in the form of genes which are being transferred from the parent cell to the daughter cells from generation to generation. There the genome divides or duplicates itself, and even there is synthesis of constituents. All the single constituents are being doubled in this process, which is leading to growth, and ultimately there is a formation of the daughter cells. So you can go with this definition also, or you can go as series of changes occurring in the parent cell which grows and divide to form new daughter cells. We can define, or we can also define the cell cycle is the series of changes that occur in the parent cell which grows and divides to form a new daughter cell. So this concept of cell cycle is easily explained with the help of a diagram. What is that diagram? We'll see it. So once again, you just look into the definitions of the cell cycle: sequence of events that occur in a cell which with division to form daughter cells, or the sequence of changes that occur with duplication of genome, synthesis of constituents where there is growth and even that growth and form the daughter cells, and there is series of changes occurring in the parent cell which grows and divides to form new daughter cells. So you can go with these some definitions of the cell cycle. So with the diagram, there is a diagram to represent the cell cycle, but in cell cycle there are two important steps. There are two important steps in the cell cycle. First one is interphase, also known as I phase. Second is mitotic phase, known as M phase. Cell cycle is mainly divided into two phases. We call it as interphase, that is I phase, and the mitotic phase as the M phase. So here again the interphase is being divided into three sub-phases. It is divided into three sub-phases, that is G1, S and G2 phase. G1, S and G2. In simple terms, growth, first stage, synthesis, S stage, G2, second growth stage. So in interphase there are three sub-stages: growth 1 phase, synthesis phase and growth 2 phase. While in mitosis there are two processes with karyokinesis and cytokinesis. Karyokinesis and cytokinesis. So whatever the changes that occur in the called as karyokinesis, and the changes that occur in the cytoplasm is known as cytokinesis. Here again the karyokinesis has 4 sub stages. Those are prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. In karyokinesis, the changes occur in the nucleus where the process is being divided into 4 sub-stages: prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and the telophase. After this process, it starts with cytokinesis, where there is division of the cytoplasm. Now this only we will represent in the form of a diagram. So here cell cycle is divided into 2 main steps, that is interphase and mitotic phase, where the interphase is subdivided into 3 stages. First, growth phase, S phase, synthesis phase, and growth. Second, growth phase. And the mitotic phase is divided into 2, karyokinesis and cytokinesis, where karyokinesis is having the sub-stages prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, and followed by cytokinesis. So this cell cycle, as we represent in the form of a diagram, in the form of a circle figure, it is represented in a circle figure. So this period, this stage of the circle is known as I phase, which is interphase. Interphase have 3 sub-stages: growth 1, synthesis, and growth. After second growth phase, directly the cell enters into the mitotic phase. From here to the next is known as M phase, where it includes prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, followed by cytokinesis. At the end, 2 daughter cells are being formed and a period of rest where it enters among the 2 daughter cells. One will not enter the process of cell cycle. That stage is as G0 stage. So the first 3 sub-stages of interphase is G1, S, and G2, followed by mitotic phase, that is prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, cytokinesis. So these are all included in the M phase. So this is the representation the interphase, then what makes the cell to divide the components equally and form the daughter cells with the mitotic phase. So up to here we have studied the types of the cell division and the sub-stages of the cell cycle. So in the next class we will continue with the explanation of this concept of cell cycle with the same diagrammatic representation of the cell cycle. What happens in G1, S, G2, then what are changes occurs in the mitotic phase. So next class we will continue with the cell cycle.